Hey guys, greetings red and black fans. This is Flamengo. Welcome to the Paparazzo Rubro Negro channel. If you're just arriving, I invite you to follow, like, and share on all platforms. If you're on YouTube, I invite you to subscribe down below, turn on the bell notifications, and drop a like on the video. We're always here bringing you a lot of information about Mengo. These guys really have nothing to do, right, Otto? It's true, they have nothing to do. They're always coming up with something new. It's impressive. Now, when it comes to attacking people from Rio, attacking Flamengo, even Vasco, yesterday, what they did to Abel's coaching staff, they all gang up against us, and Mauro Cesar is absolutely right. It's not even something to joke about. What the guy said, no. They're being very serious. When he says it looks like a potato field, he's really being serious. He wants to attack, it's all planned. They want to attack the natural grass because they have to defend the synthetic turf. We're going to come here with a lot of information. I want to remind you that you can get official Flamengo products on YouTube Shopping. You can get this jersey right now, the Flamengo Travel and Training jersey. This one is for training. The players use it. From the travel and training line, you can get it here on YouTube Shopping. You're really helping Flamengo by buying official products since it supports the team a lot. Remember that all our sponsors are there. In the pinned comment only, we have important information to bring here because we brought it about a month ago or even more. In a conversation with Dennis Ricardo, Bruno Henrique's agent. That's the story where some people were saying that Bruno Henrique would retire at the end of the year or that he wouldn't renew and all that, but it was all nonsense. It was all lies. Yesterday, Bruno Henrique was on Barbacast. He even did a collab with us here, Barba, man. What we notice is that he's a guy who isn't going to retire. Now, he's not happy. He even talked about Leonardo Jardim. He said he likes to learn a lot from the coaches who come in. And man, I think Bruno Henrique has at least 1 or 2 more years left to play soccer. And man, Bruno Henrique, the information we brought was that he was going to renew with Flamengo, that there would be a renewal. There are a lot of fans who didn't realize he was playing in a position that didn't really suit him and said, oh no, they shouldn't renew and so on. The truth is, if Bruno Henrique is playing in the right position and playing well, let me tell you guys, Given Samuel Lino's current form, I prefer Bruno Henrique. Even with the age difference, I prefer Bruno Henrique. It's nothing against Samuel Lino. Bruno Henrique just truly represents the team. Man, he represents Flamengo, man. He's a legend. This one really is a legend. I'm going to talk about this issue with Gerson, the explanation he gave for not swapping shirts with Everton Araujo, and also about the whole Gerson situation. Losing that idol status, for a lot of people losing that idol status, I say that the champions from 2019 will never completely lose their legend status. That's the case with Gabigol, with everything he's done. It's the same with Gerson, but they do lose some of that legend status. Yes, a good part of it is lost because of everything they've done, and especially because of his father. So we're going to talk about this, bring you this information about Bruno Henrique, and then I'll talk about Gerson's situation, okay? Well, so as I was saying to you, to start off with the information about BH. Ooh, the player is not interested in ending his career at the end of the year. He still believes that he is able to perform at a high level for at least 1 or 2 more years. And we have Bruno Henrique. So with the information we brought about a month ago that he would renew with Flamengo, Flamengo has resumed discussions. According to the newspaper O Globo, Flamengo has resumed discussions about renewing Bruno Henrique's contract, and they should have a meeting with number 27 and his agent, Dennis Ricardo. That's why Dennis Ricardo, the player's agent, is in Rio de Janeiro. Okay? As our team had already reported, the parties are working towards an extension of the contract, okay? The red and black board intends to treat the idol with respect. In this last year of his contract, the idea is to offer a renewal for 1 more season. If Bruno Henrique doesn't want to, the club plans to prepare tributes for the striker. Flamengo should adjust the player's salary to a slightly lower amount, but they do intend to renew the contract if he accepts Flamengo's conditions for 1 more year. And with a contract with a lower salary and everything else, he stays. If he doesn't accept, Flamengo will prepare a farewell and a thank you for everything he did for Mengao. Nothing could be fairer. Bruno Henrique deserves it. Now let's talk about Gerson's situation. We had Flamengo fans, man, cursing, calling him a mercenary, and all of that is okay. Before the game, the guy is there. You have to put some pressure. It's part of it, even afterwards. I'm not here to judge fans, never. I'm not here to judge fans, okay? But I'm here to bring the truth and to say what I think. I think it's worth it for us to stay throwing so much hate at Gerson. It's over. It's done. Do like Gabigol. We ignore it. It's over. And that's it. Life goes on. Did he lose a big part of his idol status? He lost it. Will the fan get to the point of erasing his name from the jersey? No, they won't. But it's sad because we had a lot of affection for Gerson. I think we still do. But it stays. His career is shaken because of everything his father did recently, right? According to the newspaper O Globo, midfielder Gerson refused to swap jerseys with Everton Araujo after Flamengo's 2-0 win over Cruzeiro because he had already promised the jersey to Bruno Henrique and Ayrton Lucas, okay? After the game, some Flamengo players approached the athlete to show their support. Faced with insults and shouts of mercenary coming from the stands, Gerson was already expecting a hostile environment at Maracanã. People close to him say he left upset because of the defeat and being substituted, not because of the provocations from the Flamengo fans. The truth is, we could tell that his expression was much more one of regret than of sadness. Deep down, he was regretful for everything that happened. At least that's what I think. He must really regret having agreed to leave Flamengo, where he was an idol for Russian football. Cold, and now he's at Cruzeiro. He'll try to make his mark there, but I'll tell you guys, for sure, it won't be the same. Look, Lucas Paquetá posted a photo saying that everything's fine here. Check it out, Lucas Paquetá. With the immobilization, he has a fractured finger on his right hand, but everything's fine. He'll be able to play and train normally. No problem at all. We're going to start talking now about this rivalry. Rio, São Paulo. We just saw Abel Ferreira's coaching staff there, exaggerating, saying that the field at São Januário looked like a potato farm, that it was uneven, a field full of holes that looked like a potato farm. A lack of respect, and I agree with Mauro Cesar Pereira, an absurd lack of respect. He said there's no room for jokes, but I still joke to mess with the guys. I noticed that they do everything to try to prove that the synthetic field is better than natural grass. And they'll never be able to do that, never prove it. And Renato Gaucho himself gave a very interesting answer, and Mauro Cesar Pereira did too. What he said is important for us to mention here, and Renato Gaucho, who did very well, also in his statement. Take a look at Mauro Cesar Pereira. By the way, Vasco's field cost about 800,000 and was replaced in November. It's a new field, like a potato farm. Damn, that's some nerve. What a shameless act. This is a very serious matter. Yeah, talking to the show's anchor, what the guy says about Vasco is a lack of respect for Vasco. It's shameless. I can't take this as a joke. A guy from Abel's coaching staff who represents Palmeiras saying that is really a shame. Me joking that São Januário leaks water, Ratoland, us joking around, that's okay. But the guy is on the other team and is trying to justify a loss. Because of the field, it's really shameful. And Renato Gaucho also talked about this. We had Renato Gaucho talking about this, and I think it's important for us to bring Renato Gaucho's statement here. Yesterday, after the victory in the debut against Palmeiras, Renato was really fired up, and he already won his first game. Especially against Palmeiras, who lost their lead as league leaders.
We can't get into that controversy. Vasco's field, let's say it's not a perfect 10, but it's a good field. But I'd much rather play 1,000 times on Vasco's field if I were a player than play on artificial turf. That's right, brother.
What a nice little jab. I'd play 1,000 times on Vasco's field, even if it isn't perfect, like he said. It's not a 10, but it's still better than artificial turf. In fact, I used the same example as Otinho here earlier. My wife even saw some situations for him to play on the carpet and all that. We said carpet, artificial turf, none of that. And then he plays with me on natural grass. Put a little cloth there, a little rug, and that's it. But artificial turf is only good for hurting your knee, for burning, and it's terrible. And Renato Gaucho is absolutely right about this. So Renato Gaucho is really right, and it's no joke. The guys went overboard and spoke very seriously. That was with the intention of trying to defend the synthetic grass. They're always doing that, always embarrassing themselves like this. Look, we're going to talk with you here. We're going to show images from Flamengo's training. I'll comment and talk about some situations with you. We also have our dear friend from the UFC here and some football curiosities. Speaking of the finger, have you ever felt Leonardo Jardim's finger? Have you ever felt his finger, Leonardo Jardim's? I'm going to react to his video here too, which I always like to do, but now we have to bring up something embarrassing. What Casagrande said is shameful. We've already dealt with this São Paulo media. Earlier, I mentioned Andre Kifuri, son of Juca Kifuri, blaming BAP and Flamengo for Crespo's firing. He says many Brazilian coaches will be fired because of Flamengo. Now everything is blamed on Flamengo. And then Casagrande, Casão, he managed to outdo himself this time. This time he really outdid himself. On the day of the match, Vasco and Palmeiras, before the match, he came up with this gem. Flamengo has a great team. They have a coach that I like. Last year, I think Cruzeiro played well, largely because of the work of Leonardo Jardim. We can see that the same team can't perform the same way under Tite because Tite has a different football philosophy. But Flamengo is far from competing with Palmeiras in the tournament right now. Take a look. I'm not saying Palmeiras will be champions. I'm talking about today, the 5th round of the Brazilian League. Palmeiras has played better than Flamengo so far. Keep saying that, man. You're a jinx. Keep talking. Keep praising Palmeiras. Keep doing that because it's working. It's working. The guy is a jinx. Don't praise Flamengo, for God's sake. Keep jinxing, criticizing you, São Paulo media. Keep bashing Flamengo and praising Palmeiras. Then he says, Palmeiras, look at that. Look at the level this thing is at. Palmeiras won a São Paulo championship with more dominance. Oh, yeah. Oh, but it was against Novo Horizontino. He answers himself, it was against Novo Horizontino. And Flamengo was against Fluminense. He answered himself, man. The guy contradicts himself, man. But Flamengo, oh my God, faced Madureira in the semifinals. And Palmeiras faced São Paulo in the semifinals. Wait, but Flamengo had Fluminense in the final. And in the semifinals, Flamengo scored 8 against Madureira. Palmeiras struggled against Novo Horizontino, so I think Palmeiras is better right now, plays better, and is more competitive. I even saw them yesterday losing to Vasco with the acting helping in every game. Palmeiras helped and benefited by refereeing mistakes, is more resilient, has had the same coach for longer, so they're more prepared. Man, that's crazy. Look, he says that Flamengo's style is used to having 70-65%. Anyway, my point is about ball possession, which is what he's talking about, okay? My point is the fans, the red-black crowd. First of all, it's not a mass, okay? Flamengo is a nation. This mass thing is Atletico. Will you be satisfied with this kind of soccer for another 29 games, or were you just satisfied with yesterday? Flamengo has never played like this in 30 games. He's already trying to create a crisis. Casagrande, first of all, values Palmeiras. Thank you, because now you've already jinxed those guys. If it's about jinxing, no, Zico is king. If it were about Zico, it would have worked out. Yeah, you threw, man, some bad energy at Palmeiras. Keep going, keep the drought going, you jinx. So let's go. Then he says that Flamengo has changed from a style of having more possession to less. Now, the fans won't be satisfied. You already want to create a crisis, right? Casagrande is already eager to create a crisis. It's impressive, isn't it, man? It's impressive. We have the FC Curiosidades do Futebol, which I really like. The guy understands a lot about football. He picks some moments and does some really good analysis. He's going to discuss the play and Flamengo's goal now. Let's watch.
Notice that it all starts. Arrascaeta sends the ball exactly where Leo Ortiz likes it the most. But luckily for Ches, since at first he was the one marking Flamengo's defender, and due to a slip-up on his part, he ends up letting his opponent move freely to attack the near post. The ball ends up hitting the crossbar, and for a moment the team from Rio almost opens the score right at the start of the match. And so I know that Flamengo ended up scoring right after, due to a mistake by Cruzeiro. But I want you to pay attention to two crucial points that contributed a lot to that goal happening. First, notice how Flamengo perfectly reorganizes Leo Pereira instead of having him return to his original position. He quickly tries to put pressure on the Cruzeiro player who has the ball, slowing down his advance and giving his team a little more time to get organized defensively. Emerson Royal signals to Cebolinha, likely asking him to watch for a possible run by Mateus Pereira down the flank. This lets Emerson move into the middle like a defensive midfielder. This way, Flamengo closes off the middle in an organized manner and prevents any possibility of the opponent launching a counter-attack. The second point is the extreme mastery with which Jorginho reads the play.
Jorginho did really well, was really good, is really good, he's just great.
Constantly checking his position to avoid offering a passing option to the player with the ball. So at the crucial moment of the play, which is when Barreal gets past Leo Pereira and perfectly would have a lot of space to play the teammate down the wing, Jorginho masterfully is there, very well positioned, completely cutting off that passing lane. With the movement of the other players, especially Jorginho, Cruzeiro's forward is forced to retreat and gives the ball away to Pedro. This already shows top-level play. Notice how Pedro intelligently already receives the ball while protecting it with his body, preventing Fagner from getting to it. Next, he gets past two more players just with his left foot and then shoots against Cassio's movement.
He nutmegged him there.
And between us, can you already feel Leonardo Jardim's bald head, or is it still too early for things to start happening?
You can already feel Leonardo Jardim's bald head, right? Or is it still too early? Yeah, my friends, if you haven't felt it yet, you will. Let's watch footage from the training session that Flamengo TV released, and there's an important moment for us to talk about from Mengo's training. Look, we can see Leonardo Jardim warming up the guys, obviously, right? But man, I want to draw attention to a detail from the training session, the finishing drills, because we can notice he's very focused on finishing. Flamengo really had a large number of shots with Felipe Luis, but the finishing wasn't very good. Flamengo later even starts to improve. They get that 8-0. Pedro scores 4 goals. The team was starting to get better, but Flamengo really needs to improve their finishing. And I think this training you're about to see here is very important. And also a cool detail regarding Alassian, we can see that he wants to use Alassian more and more as Pedro's substitute striker. Instead of putting Plata or Bruno Henrique as a striker, he wants to use the player in his actual position, and that's very important for Alassian to have more opportunities. And obviously, it's an image from training. It's a moment during practice where he's correcting the players. And then Flamengo TV cuts, invites you to subscribe to Flamengo TV, and then cuts to the moment with elation. He's finishing and makes a great shot, controls it on his chest and finishes. You're going to see it here now. You're watching Leo Jardim, and there's our coach talking, correcting the players there. On the tactical side, now look at Varela making the crosses and everything else. The players there are practicing what seems to be finishing drills, tactical training, finishing, and everything else. The players are taking part in the activity. And we're going to see Varela's cross, exactly to Alassian, who controls it on his chest. The cross was really good, and so was Alassian's finish. Let's see it now. Look at the cross. He corrects it once again there. The players are always there, correcting, participating, very active, even during the game. Now look at Varela's cross. Varela could be a starter. He controlled it on his chest and scored. What a play. Alassian did really well on that one.